All right, everybody. We are back. Another podcast. Today we've got Blake on. He's a good friend of mine. So, Blake, how do you introduce yourself?
My name is Blake Valdez. I'm born and raised in Utah. For work, I work with my good friend Dallas doing CNC machining. I have a little experience in real estate doing some flips and second lender position deals. But other than that, I like to, just obviously work out and
Obviously.
have a healthy lifestyle. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, for anybody, Blake's a student of ours. You've been flying with us since what, August of
I
last
think
year?
about approximately August. Yeah.
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 August. And you're currently on cross countries.
Yes. Yeah.
So, how's that been going?
It's fun. I'm really enjoying every step of every like learning process of it. Cross countries is very fun. There's a lot more info to know, but I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling more like a pilot in that process. Of actually making the calls to, the towers and approach and all that. So I'm enjoying it a lot.
Nice. And what airports are you going to?
Right now we're going to Milford, which is non-towered, and then when we fly to Provo, which is towered.
Cool.
So it's a good learning process.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah.
Cross countries are that's where, yeah, like you said, it's where you feel like an actual pilot.
Yeah, you feel like it. A lot longer time in the plane, so I'm a little stiff when I get out.
Yep.
But no, it's really good. It's you feel like you're flying somewhere rather than staying here in the pattern. So it's fun.
Yeah. We'll come back around for cross country. I got some
Okay.
questions for you on that. But what got you into aviation?
I think like any kid growing up, you really get infatuated with flight and planes and pilots, and I've always been very intrigued by that. And then at a young age, I wanted to be a pilot since very young. And then I didn't have a really a goal set of when I was going to do it. I just knew I wanted it on a notch on my belt to have my private pilot one day. And then I met you, and you happened to have your own flight school, and at the time you mentioned it that I should, come and be a student, and I still hadn't pulled the trigger yet. And then my good friend Dallas, I had to meet you, and then he pulled the trigger and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this flight school."
Yeah.
With or without you. So it kind of made it easier having a buddy do it with you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I said, all right, yeah, I'll pull the trigger and might as well. And we both attacked it. So it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you see any like career goals with aviation, or are you just solely doing it for leisure fun?
When I was younger, I really wanted to do it as a career. I really thought just traveling the world, flying a huge plane and doing a service for people would be really neat. As of right now, it kind of changed. I just want to do it privately for fun. I got a little different aspirations and goals now. I think it'd be really cool, be able to fly your friends and family on little trips here and there, or take them wherever you want around the world. So right now my goal with it is just to get my private pilot, and then obviously probably instrument rating, and then be able to fly a single engine plane with passengers around and take little trips and enjoy the freedom of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now I know you have goals for businesses and stuff. We don't have to get into the different ideas you have. So anybody,
we can maybe leak something.
Yes.
I got something stirring up.
Do you see like aviation helping in those, industries, like, ways to promote your businesses or to help, network? I don't know what, like, I try to, every career path or anything that I'm doing as a hobby normally orientates towards like a business goal of mine, right? How to make more money, essentially, right?
Yeah, 100%. With aviation, you have to have a lot of multitasking. I think that helps me improve my skills in my multitasking to be able to take that elsewhere. I mean, with entrepreneurship, you're having to do multiple things at once. So I think that really helps lead into that. With advertisement, I mean, there's everybody likes planes and loves seeing planes. And so you could do a lot of good advertising with planes. Flying to places like with this business I'm stirring up right now, I may have to fly out to different manufacturers and visit the plant and figure out stuff. So 100%, that would help with, instead of having to book a flight, just fly myself or whoever I need out there to the manufacturer and
Yeah.
visit and make visits. And yeah, it can be very helpful with
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
Has like the training aspect of flying helped you in any other life aspect that you've had?
Uh, yeah, the discipline. I mean,
Yeah.
everything takes discipline, and especially flying. Being on task and focusing on what you need to do on hand. There's no really room for error when you're flying in a plane. So um, yeah, it helps me stay focused, stay on task. My learning skills, just learning in general, and taking in information and remembering that information. And it's a lot of repetitive stuff by learning. So just doing it over and over and over, and remembering that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely helps.
Yeah, I would say when I was in training, I mean, I had been out of school for like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years,
Hmm.
and I did not know how to study.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
You get
100%.
used
Yeah.
to the watch a quick YouTube video, how to's,
Yeah.
but when you actually have to open up a book,
Yeah.
and learn, like, know what's in that book and how
Yeah.
to study that properly.
Right.
I mean, that changed my whole life in terms of like now when I go into new fields or I'm looking like, growing the business or whatever, and I
Mhm.
need to learn something new, so much quicker. I
Yeah.
would say that affected
Yeah.
me more than anything besides like I am now a pilot, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing I struggle with is bookwork, man.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what's going to hold me back at the end of this pilot licensing is my bookwork.
yeah,
And some I need improvement on, but we're, always learning and trying to get better at
yeah.
it. So, but yeah, there's a lot of bookwork.
So for new people getting in, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think bookwork's one of the hardest things for most,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, what would you suggest to someone, or maybe you haven't figured it out yet either,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
that's the study habits and what you're doing for your studies? Because it's one thing just opening a book and reading it word for word, right?
Right.
There's note taking, there's videos, I mean, we have
Flashcards. Yeah.
flashcards,
Yeah.
everything else,
Yeah.
right? I mean, have you figured out what really works for you, or are you still in kind of the investigating
I'm
stage?
still in the learning process, but I have gotten better, obviously, from day one of studying till where I am currently. I think it's very important to schedule a time to study instead of like, okay, this week I'll do it, 2 hours this week.
Yeah,
Like I have to like set, okay, Tuesday and Thursday is the days I'm flying. After that, in the afternoon, I'm setting an hour aside to do my book work and focus on the day that what we studied that day or did in the airplane that day. So I think scheduling a time to do it. Another thing that I just purchased, it was off a guy on YouTube I found. He made his own set of flashcards.
nice.
And so I just bought those last week and they're very helpful. I think flashcards are very helpful because it'll ask you a question and obviously the answers are on the back. And so I just kind of skim through those. And if I don't know them, I try to remember. And flashcards really helped me a lot.
Yeah,
So I like that. And then you can take the information wherever you go, whether it's in your car or at work and bust them out and go through them real quick.
yeah,
So I like flashcards a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I did flashcards when I got done with because I went, private through CFI,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
there's four licenses essentially
Mm-hmm.
throughout all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it you can ask my wife, but on my desk I had just private pilot stack, instrument stack, commercial stack, CFI stack, CFII stack. I mean, I went through just probably, I don't know, 10 packs of those flashcards and
Yeah.
just writing them down. And
And for you, was that most effective, the flashcards
the
or?
flashcards themselves, I probably didn't touch too much after
Mhm.
I wrote them, but just like the writing
Oh,
down,
yeah, doing it.
and I
Yeah.
had like the colored ones, so different subjects and topics were a certain
Correct.
color.
Yeah.
So I was able to like, correlate like, oh, I remember that one was on like a pink flashcard,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then writing it down helped. But
Yeah.
like going through them, I probably did once,
Okay.
but I figured I learned it because I remembered it going through them that one time, like,
Right.
oh yeah, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one,
Yeah.
But
Okay.
for me, just writing it down changed, my studies
Okay.
versus
Okay.
just reading or like digital flashcards,
Yeah.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of different ways to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people do great with just reading a book, they pick it up
Yeah.
super quick.
Not my way.
Yeah,
No,
that's not me.
not me. I just like read the words and I'm like, don't
Yeah.
attain anything
Yeah. My
else.
issue is with the paragraphs. I'll read like six of the words in the whole paragraph and
Yeah.
try to piece it together.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's
So
great. Yeah.
I had a student come in last week and he was talking to me. He asked me, he was like, how do you like manage? Because he's a full-time worker, he's got a career,
Yeah.
he does want to do aviation as a career. So it's a huge goal for him,
Yeah.
so he can quit his job and move into aviation.
For sure. Yeah.
But you're a full-time worker, you got a family, you got friends, you got normal life. How do you manage the flight training portion and the studies that you need to get done,
Good
with
question.
day to day?
Yeah. I think I'm in a very fortunate spot where my job and my boss is very lenient on that
Yep.
and let me miss when I need to come down here and train. So I'm very fortunate in that spot. Um, we the flight school here is about an hour away, so we need to just manage what days we come down. We try to get here down twice a week. It's not I feel like it's not enough, obviously, but that's just kind of what we can make work and happen. So yeah, we just schedule, like, when Katie or you ask us when we want to schedule, I try to just block 2 days out of my week that for flying. This is going to be for flying, and if weather permits, we can get that in. So it's the scheduling, and me having the opportunity of being able to miss work to come down here and fly,
Yeah.
which is very fortunate on my end. And yeah, we just do that, block it out,
Yeah.
and make it happen. So
Now, obviously, you have, the passion for it, so that
yeah.
helps,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The passion, and yeah. Every time I come down, I'm excited. I have, and it's weird. Each time I get nervous too. I'm still nervous because you want to do well, or maybe last time you kind of struggled in the plane,
Yeah.
and you're like, I hope I don't keep sucking. So yeah, it's a lot of excitement, a lot of nerves, but yeah, you're definitely motivated to come down and like, I want to be a better pilot every time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Talking about nerves, again, another student of ours,
Excuse me.
they
Yeah.
were a little reluctant to keep scheduling. Are you getting your nerves like before the flight or like as you're getting in the airplane, like in the airplane
It's before the flight.
before?
Yeah, before the flight. Once I get in the airplane, at certain times I get different nerves. Like today, obviously when Katie pulls a emergency,
Yeah.
okay, your engine failed. So that's where I got to work on my nerves of like assessing the situation. Don't panic. There's a lot of like my instinct is to panic. I think that's kind of normal with anybody. But that's one thing I'm working on. But my nerves are just usually pre-flight coming down here, just maybe overthinking too
Yeah.
much. And I want to make Katie happy. I want to impress her, or like, oh, you're working on, or you're learning, you're attaining. So that's just the pressure I hold on myself. Like, I want to be a good student.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
that every time I come down here, I have that
Yeah.
feeling like, I want to do well. I want to do well. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I mean, I think like a lot of people think that goes away.
yeah.
I mean, I think eventually it does, but especially when you're starting, it's brand
Yeah.
new, everything's new, you're a
Yeah.
little nervous.
Yeah.
I'm sure like solo is super nerve wracking,
100%, yeah.
and I try to tell my students like that's very normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I would, I was just talking with one of our instructors about that because he has a student that's just kind of reluctant to keep coming in
Yeah.
because they think they're too nervous.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is a limit, but like, they never get nervous in the airplane. And I'm like, well, then it's just a, anxiety
Yeah.
thing or
Yeah.
whatever you want to consider it, but
Right.
very normal. I mean,
Yeah.
you've flown longer than they have and you're still getting it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. 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 I don't think it goes away. I mean, and I think it's good to have, because it's like this gives you caution.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I don't ever want to get too complacent or comfortable where you're ignoring stuff,
Yeah.
skipping procedures, skipping checklist stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I always want to have that awareness and be nervous, that in a good way, to be more safe.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to always have it a little bit in you, but obviously it goes away after you get a little more comfortable with stuff. And like, um, I think a lot of people think when they first get in, it's the height. They're scared of heights, and I'm scared of heights. But I don't think it really pertains in the plane. When I'm in there, I don't think, I don't look
Yeah.
down and get scared for some odd reason, but yeah, no, but like the first day maybe going in that happens, but now that goes away really quick, and then you're just focused on what your tasks at hand and what you're trying to do. So, what about you? You still get nervous when you fly right
It
now?
depends on the flight, like
Sure,
if there's a
sure.
lot of things going into it, it's not so much like a nervous, it's more like I've got a lot to think about,
Yeah. So like when you go pick the service up,
Yeah. Yeah.
are you nervous about that flight or coming
Well, it
back or
depends on what airport we go to because we're
oh,
looking at a few right now.
yeah, yeah.
We were looking at one out in Massachusetts,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, well, okay, that's a long flight. You're flying out of Boston,
Busy. Yeah.
super busy, and like I think of all the things that I have to remember,
Yeah,
and
yeah, for
especially
sure.
like, I mean, being out here in Nephi, I don't fly in towered airspaces that
Yeah,
much,
yeah,
like I don't fly that much in general,
yeah.
so like to think like, okay, I got to be ready for this. I got to be ready for the tower. I got to be ready for the airspace. I got to be ready for ATC.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it like, yeah, it's not so much like a nervous or I get like jitters, but it's the thought of it prior to.
yeah.
And then like we're flying the Diamond out to Dallas this weekend probably
Okay.
for a little bit of maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And again, long flight. There's a lot of weather going on recently
Mm-hmm.
down south.
Yeah,
So I'm like, I got to figure in weather, like what
yeah.
happens if we don't.
This is
Like,
more of so staying polished on
yeah,
certain things that you haven't.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I
Okay.
don't get like nerves necessarily, but I get those thoughts of like, well, am I ready for that type of flight?
Yeah.
We're flying into an international
Or
airport.
how do I get ready for it?
Yeah, how do I
Like,
get ready for it?
yeah.
So I'm like planning now.
Good. Yeah.
You know, back probably, 2 years ago when I was flying every single day,
Yeah.
like I probably wouldn't have ever thought twice about
Right.
it.
Okay.
So it's just a
Yeah.
little different now,
Yeah.
but I mean, that goes to show like with proficiency,
Mm-hmm.
I'm proficient. I do fly, a couple, times a month. So I'm not like rusty,
Right.
but, when you're doing new situations, new airports,
Yeah.
you got to think about it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Totally different. Yeah. Okay.
but
Yeah.
weather makes me the most like thoughtful, I think,
Uh-huh.
especially when you are doing like real cross countries,
Yeah.
here to Dallas or Massachusetts, all the way back
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
That's the whole United States,
Yeah.
coast to coast almost.
Right.
Yeah, I get nervous with weather of like, oh crap, what if we hit weather here and how do we divert? Where do we divert to?
Yeah.
Should we land versus going through it?
Yeah.
Because now we're running into the warm months. I don't have to worry about icing as much, but it's still
Yeah.
like, should we fly through the storm or it's
Yeah.
just light rain, could
Yeah.
get heavier.
Yeah.
So,
And that's normal. I think that's normal
yeah,
nervousness. Like that's stuff you should be nervous
yeah,
about,
yeah.
So, well, that's cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's very normal.
Yeah.
But like you said, it is good, I think, to have those nerves because then you are safe.
Yeah.
If the nerves take over in flight, that's a different story.
Exactly.
But if it's all the planning,
Yeah.
that you get like nerves or cautious about things, I think that's good.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're
So,
right. Yeah.
and if at any point you feel like it's a bad decision, I think the nerves help you make that decision quicker.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not feeling good today,
Yeah.
like,
I'm definitely on that side because, like,
yeah,
when every time we got a flight and I'm looking at the weather, whether it's a couple hours prior and we got some iffy weather, I just tell Katie, I'd rather cancel
yeah,
and let's reschedule. So, I don't want to get into anything that we wish we wouldn't have got into, kind of thing. So, yeah, I think it's better to be more cautious.
Yeah.
For sure.
and I think it changes a little bit. And I mean, obviously, you've got a kid and a family,
Mhm.
and other careers and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
when I fly, I get like not nervous in flight, but like the thought prior to is like I got to be extra careful now. I
Yeah.
got 2 kids.
Not
I
just
got
you.
wife at home.
Yeah.
It's not just me that's affected by a flight,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Does that ever go through your head? Like,
Yeah, I think it does. More not so much like with Katie because obviously I know she can handle the airplane and if we needed any emergency thing, but it does go through my head in my future, like when I think about the future of like that's why I want to take this so serious now because I will be flying friends, I will be flying family.
Yeah.
So I want to do my best to learn everything I can and be the safest pilot I can. So that way, like, they feel safe with me. They're, obviously I'm sure you can tell when you get in a plane with somebody and they're, taking the pilot seat, like how well they've learned and how safe they are. And you know, how much knowledge they have. So I want to feel safe too. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing.
Well, it's funny seeing like you and Dallas fly, right?
Yeah.
When I ever get to fly with you
Yeah.
guys, because we're all pretty reckless, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
We like to have fun and
Yeah.
we like to joke around and
Yeah.
when it comes to like fast cars, we're okay going whatever speed,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's different. But then like watching you guys get in the airplane, it's like a whole nother person. It's like
180.
we are very
It's like
serious. We're not joking. We can have conversation in the airplane, but it's like it's not the
it's
same
no
conversation.
fucking around.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty funny to see.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I see that with him too, and I'm sure he sees it with me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it goes back to your question. Like, you got other people's lives in your hands. So,
Yeah.
like, whenever us three are in the plane, whoever's the pilot position, like, yeah, like I'm like taking care of you guys. I need to fly my safest and
Yeah.
best, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got that
So
work.
when you do start flying with friends,
Yeah.
how do you see yourself managing that? Because obviously they're not going to see that side of you,
Mhm.
until you do get in the airplane,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like that very serious, no joking around type
Yeah.
attitude,
Yeah.
right? How do you see yourself managing that with those that, aren't used to that type of Blake?
uh, I I don't think it has to be managed too hardly. I mean, it's just all your pre-flight briefing with your passengers, and even like if you're driving, if they have, I'm sure they'll have questions. Like
Yeah.
if you're driving down to the airport and we're going for a flight, you know, I'm sure they'll be asking about the flight, and um, maybe it's a way to let them know that you're very serious when we get in the plane,
Yeah.
and we got to take it seriously. And if somebody does kind of joke around too much, you gotta put your foot down and
Yeah.
let them know, like, hey, this isn't time to joke around. We're
Yeah.
taking stuff serious right now. So I don't like, I think most people will respect the pilot and what he's trying to do. Um, but yeah, I don't think it'd be too
Yeah.
hard to manage.
I think you'll be shocked what people do in the airplane.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like, what have you experienced?
yeah, well, I've flown with buddies. I've flown with, students I've gotten really comfortable with,
Yeah.
and um, especially students that I've flown with, they get very complacent
Yeah.
when they're with a friend in the airplane
Mm-hmm.
versus like an instructor in the airplane.
Okay. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
once I got comfortable with someone and they let things slide, they let things go. They don't check their checklist as much, they're like, oh crap, I forgot to switch fuel, like,
Yeah.
oh big deal, haha,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, no, those are pretty serious things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then, flying with friends, it's or even kids, like
Yeah.
Leo flies with me a ton.
Uh-huh.
When he can, he wants to.
Right.
And it's hard to like try to manage them asking you questions and
Yeah.
and then when you fly with friends is they want to, it's serious at first, but then once they're comfortable,
Yeah.
it's like what side of them's going to come out?
True.
Like,
Yeah.
are they going to be goofing off in the back? Are they going to be, messing around with you?
Yeah.
And I see videos and I see, they're normally the younger crowd
Yeah.
and they just kind of goof off the whole time.
Right.
They're like
Yeah.
talking, got autopilot on, and not really paying attention to anything.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, in the long run, I think that's where we see a lot of these pilot error
Yeah.
type situations come into play.
Yeah.
That when you aren't focused, I mean, at least 90% of the time,
Yeah.
you're missing things, right? Whether that's a message on your screen or high, oil temperatures
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. Autopilot disengages because you accidentally bump the button.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure. Yeah.
luckily, I haven't had too many scary ones. The biggest ones I've had is just with students who've gotten very comfortable.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
like one student, he got very comfortable with just handing me controls. Normally, it was in like just normal flight,
Okay.
like cross countries.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hey, can I take a minute? Your controls,
Yeah.
like, and he readjusts in his seat, whatever.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where he would give me controls on like a bad landing.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like literally. So, I mean, craziest story I've ever had, and luckily no one was hurt, no airplane
Yeah.
was hurt,
Yeah.
but we're coming into land and it was a really windy day and I
Okay.
warned him prior to. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, this is outside of your minimums. He goes,
Yeah.
well, are they inside yours? I was like, well, for one landing, they're fine, but he wants to go do TOLs,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
touch and goes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's probably not going to be a good day for that. He's like, well, I got to learn it someday. right? And he's very comfortable to just like kind of make demands more than like
Oh, yeah.
do what I said.
Right, yeah.
Which I mean, for any CFI out there, I don't think that's like a bad rep on the CFI.
Not at all.
Like, yeah, you want to get comfortable, and you're spending. I spent like 60 hours with the dude. Like, of course, we're gonna be at a different level of
Yeah.
friendship,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're coming into land again, super windy. It was very calm coming in on final,
Mhm.
and then short final, we got a huge crosswind gust,
Okay.
massive, like 20 knots.
Oh, shit.
Okay. And so he goes full rudder for some reason. I don't know why. Full rudder and then full right aileron. So I look out my window and I can see the numbers through my side window.
Oh.
Yeah, like we're almost completely vertical.
Oh, man.
And he goes, your controls. But he didn't let go of the rudder and he didn't let go of the aileron. And so aileron would have been his left hand, and then his hand was on the throttle. So I was expecting him to do a go around,
Yeah.
like if you have a bad landing, just go around, level out the airplane, and full throttle.
Yeah.
No, he held on to everything tight, and literally I had to throat chop him. Like I went straight to the jugular with my hand to get him off of the controls, because then he went like this, right? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I brought it back over, and like, it was pretty crazy because I got it I got it on the ground, but then because of the momentum going off the runway,
Yeah.
like we slid across, like almost like drifted across the runway. And then right at the last minute, right when I could see the grass like touching the wheels almost, I just put in a little bit of right or left brake and a little bit of left rudder and just crept it back over. It was crazy, like
Wow.
pure instinct for that one. There was no thought process. It was all just like
reaction.
Everything slowed down, which was kind of cool to see, like your thought and everything, like the whole time slowed down. Like thinking about it now, it seemed like it was like 2 minutes worth of flying.
Yeah.
But you know how quick short final is to ground.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yeah.
like a second.
Yeah. Very quick.
Yeah. So
what in that situation, what have you learned or adjusted with?
well, one, it
training?
was like setting expectations and being firm on what I feel is comfortable.
Yeah.
I was a very new CFI.
Yeah.
Comfortable. I'd probably done like 100 hours of training so
Okay.
far.
Yeah.
So like I was getting a little confident, I
Yeah.
guess. But also not at the point where I felt like I could tell my students what to do. Also, I wanted a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things working against me. That's that external factors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now I'm at the point where it's like, no, if I don't feel comfortable, or if I don't feel comfortable with them doing whatever task we're doing that day,
Yeah.
we're not going.
Right.
I don't care what you say. You can go find a different CFI.
Yeah.
I was always afraid to lose students because I was an employee, not the owner.
Right.
Now I'm super comfortable like firing a student if I need to.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this isn't working. I was afraid to do that because I thought it'd reflect on, to my boss.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, well, no, let's go fly. If you want to fly, let's fly, versus this isn't the day to go fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's good.
Just missing out on those hours, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, like, I was very comfortable in the airplane, and I think that reflected in to my students, like, oh, he can do anything.
Yeah.
Right. I can solve any problem in the air.
Yeah.
So, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it can cause a false sense of comfort.
Right. What do you think you do anything different on the exchange of controls? Like, are you more like closer to the controls?
I like, especially with students who, so I used to get more relaxed with students.
Yeah.
Like, if they're doing great on landings and they've soloed and we're just on cross countries, it's kind of like, yeah, it's your plane. Like, you fly it, now it's like every landing, even if they've done 100 with me, I'm still hand on yoke, hand near throttle. Like my hand goes on my knee, and it for some students, they hate it.
Yeah.
Because they think I'm helping with the controls,
Right.
but it's like just hovering.
Yeah.
I'm like an inch from it.
Yeah.
I'm there ready. And then 2 is a very strict policy on exchange of controls.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We never do it during landing. Like I will jump in if I feel it's unsafe.
Right.
It's not just, oops,
Yeah,
your
don't let
controls,
yeah,
don't
don't
just let go, because that reaction time is, it's, we don't have enough time for me to realize that you've given me controls
yeah,
and take over and everything
for
else.
sure, yeah.
So it's very strict that way, is like, hey, if we're ever in a bad situation, it's a go around. And if I see it's very unsafe, I will then just assume controls.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then once you've seen that I'm actually manipulating the airplane, your hands go off everything, and feet.
Mhm.
So it's hard though when you're in a scary situation, because they don't know how to react, a
Right,
student.
right.
Like if you're in that situation, you look out my window and you see the numbers. It's like, well, what the hell do I do at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going
Can't really go around.
Yeah.
I'm going around to the hangar.
Yeah, going around.
So it would have been better if he had just let me take over
Yeah.
versus just. I mean, he didn't let go of anything. That was the hard part.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to like fight
You
him.
fight it over the controls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell,
So
you
yep.
made it out safe. So.
Yeah, I mean, we made it out safe. I made him do another landing, because
Good.
what I don't want is for a student to be in a scary situation, and it's like that. You get bucked off a horse, get back on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
That was good. Yeah, to make him do it
So
again.
we did another one, and he
feel a
was
little
super
confidence.
shaky. Like the whole landing, just like you could see his hand just kind of jittering,
Yeah.
like, and his foot jumping, bouncing his heels.
Yeah.
But that was good for him to do that. And but then after, it was like, I didn't yell at him yet.
Yeah.
Once we got on the ground and we're out of the airplane, it
Yeah.
was like a very strict, like, we never do that. If you ever do that again, you're out of the program. You
Yeah.
can take, because he had a plane. It was his own plane.
Uh-huh.
And it's hard to tell them like you're out of the program. It's like, well, it's my plane. Like, well, you can take your plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to risk my life for you
Right.
to learn how to fly.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So he ended up doing it again, and he got kicked out.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Well,
So there you
yeah,
go.
Didn't learn.
Some people don't learn.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So luckily it wasn't with me, and it wasn't as bad of a situation. But
Yeah.
when you fight on controls, that's like a super bad no.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Don't ever do that.
yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Or try to make decisions above,
Yeah.
But that's the hard part too. I see, these accidents, and I see all the NTSB reports and whatnot. And I mean, there's even kind of that controversy with that helicopter crash in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, she was warned like many times, like go around or change course, like she's like, no, 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 I'm confident in my decision. And then look what happened.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that she was a girl, but that's what everybody's trying to say. And I was like, whatever. She had the hours, she had the credentials, she was fine. But there is a level of like, trusting other people too,
right,
in your decision making. So they might see something you don't, which is why we fly with two people in the cockpit most of the time.
Right. Yeah. So, I think that's obviously the most safe. Yeah.
Don't ever be too cocky or confident in your skills.
No. Yeah.
It's always a place to learn.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you see this aviation, like seasoned pilots after 10, 15 years are still learning new things. You know what I mean? So it's never ending learning on this whole thing.
Yeah.
So.
That's probably my biggest tip to any new pilot is no matter how many hours you get, you'll always want to be learning.
Yeah.
You want to be able to take advice from someone else.
For sure.
Yeah. And those are my favorite. Like, so we get a lot of people who do flight reviews with us, and they have, 10,000 hours. Right. I mean, they've flown for the last 20 years for an airliner. They fly every day, and they come in for a flight review because they want to get back into general aviation. And they're like, hey, if I mess up on anything or I do something wrong, like, please tell me.
Yeah.
Those, like, I appreciate that.
For sure. Yeah. That's cool.
So
that's really neat.
Yeah. With, you just soloed too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
tell us about that. I want to hear about your solo experience.
It was about a month ago, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of driving down here with like an idea that there was no plan that I was gonna solo, but I had an idea that there was a chance. But yeah, we took 4 laps around, and the last landing, Katie's like, "You're ready. Like, do you want to solo?" And I wanted to say no, like, like there's that gut instinct that you never feel ready. But no, I had such a good laps around the pattern and landings that like, I felt like, like I was pretty good. So I said yes with a little bit of nervousness, but Yeah, she had a lot of, I think, and the confidence in her helped me a lot. Like
Yeah.
she's like, no, you're ready. Like you can do this.
Yeah.
So that helped out a lot. And yeah, so I did it, and it was good weather. Wasn't too many people in the traffic pattern, so I felt confident in that. And yeah, I think that the nerves or the more of the reality kicked in just like after I rotated and like I'm going up. I'm like, this is Katie's not here.
Yeah.
Like this is me in this plane. So that was just then I think you get more dialed in. Like she's not here, so like you have to do this on your own and remember everything. So I just got really focused and more dialed in, and I remember just to relax, just like don't make it bigger than it is, because I've done this a million times.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took a couple laps. My first landing, like it was the first landing was obviously nerve-wracking, just because you're by yourself. You want to remember everything that you've been taught, and I don't know, I felt like the Lord was with me the whole way, because I've never had a more butter landing on all those land.
Yeah.
Like they were so soft. And yeah, it was, I really impressed. I remember landing the first one. I landed and it was so soft, and I just yelled in the plane like, yes, yes, yes. And then I like got back to
Yeah.
power in. But yeah, I was really excited. And yeah, the next two are very soft and nice. And yeah, it was exciting, and I was very proud of myself. It
Yeah.
was a huge moment in my life that I haven't had for a while, that I was super proud of
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
No, it's a huge step for every pilot,
Yeah. Yeah.
like to do your solo, massive.
It was huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Do you think it helped like I mean, because you and Dallas kind of got stuck in the landing phase.
Yeah.
One, because
Yeah.
of weather or scheduling, the consistency,
Yeah.
everything kind of like played
And we
against.
maybe sucked a little bit.
Just on your grounds.
Yeah.
Just the studying part.
Yeah. This is
No.
sucking.
So like, it took a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
do you like, and I see when people take longer in certain phases, they
Yeah.
kind of lose a little bit of motivation. Do you think
Yeah.
like the solo, it just reignited like it was almost day one, like super excited again? Or what, did you kind of feel the same after the solo?
No, it definitely lit a little bit more fire under me. Like it just builds your confidence. Like you can do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it took a long time. And yeah, with this whole process, it can get you down a little bit. Just not grasping it. And talking to Dallas too, like, yeah, he struggled. And it's definitely like hard to keep that motivation that you can do this, but I think obviously with anything, the more you do it, the better you get, the right practice, like you're gonna get better.
Yeah.
So it did like another fight, like, yeah, under my butt, like, okay, what's next? Like
Yeah.
I landed this plane, took off by myself, like what next can I do by myself?
Yeah.
So it just definitely lit like another fire to say like, let's on to the next thing, let's
Yeah.
go. So
And then
yeah.
you start cross countries and it's like,
Yeah,
weird.
then
It's like back to day
then
one.
you're stupid again. You're like, "God, this is so hard." But no, it was really good. And like even now though, like like you can never just do enough of it, because like even our landing today was a little rusty. And I think it's very important to stay proficient on your landings, because obviously that's like one of the most important things. And it takes so much skill and finesse and knowledge and the feel of the plane and everything to just make a good landing. So I don't think you could ever do enough landings
Yeah.
in any situation or plane to stay well up and rounded on it. So no, it was fun. Yeah, I love the solo. It was a confidence booster. What about you? Do you remember your solo? Like, or was that a long time ago?
I mean, it was a long time ago. That was, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago.
Did you
So,
feel ready for it?
yeah. So, well, sort of.
Okay.
It's like iffy, right? Like
Yeah.
I had a bunch of good landings the day before. It was kind of weird because I don't think I was struggling with the landings as much as like my CFI didn't like my style of landings.
Okay, yeah, that's
Not that they were bad or unsafe.
yeah.
So he would always complain because I would come down and I would pull the yoke at like the perfect moment,
Okay.
but it was lower than what he was comfortable with.
Oh,
Because
okay.
most students, like if you go that far
Yeah,
down, it's
you
like they're going to 3 point it, they're going to have a rough landing. But it
right.
was like I timed it exactly the same time he would. So he'd always want to go for the yoke.
Ah,
And so, which would always throw me off because then I would balloon every time because we both go for the yoke,
right.
right?
Yeah.
We'd both pull at the same time. So then you just get that added pressure. So we would balloon almost every time. And I was like,
Yeah.
why can't I figure out this balloon? You know? And
Yeah.
then we talked about it and he was like, you just go a little too low. I was like, no, I think I'm actually pulling the same time you pull.
Yeah.
Like, and we'd have this discussion. And so I was like, I know we're not supposed to have rough landings, but can you just let me have one? And then like, and we did, and we worked it out. And then like I pulled exactly the same time he would have pulled.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like a weird, like we just kind of butt heads, not necessarily butting heads, like we weren't like,
Yeah.
mad at each other, but when as a CFI now understanding, I was like, oh yeah, that would have sucked. Like
Yeah.
having me as a student, like in that situation, it's
Yeah.
like you're so nervous that they're gonna
Yeah,
just
this
nail that
bone.
nose wheel,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
and so you do want to pull up, you do want to jump in at that point.
Yeah.
And I would have done the same thing he did, in retrospect,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
so he gave me one full one. I was like, just let me do it like 100%. I don't even want your hands near the yoke.
Yeah.
And I did, and it was like good. We didn't balloon, and it was perfect, right? Like,
Okay.
and then we did one more full day of landings of that, and then so then when I went into my solo, I felt pretty ready.
Okay.
I was only at like 13 hours.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so
Wow,
I
you got
soloed
that
super
quick.
early, super
Yeah.
quick. Looking back, I mean, I think if you are ready, it's good to do it when you can
Yeah.
and not just like, well, I want like 10 more hours of this,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you get bad habits in, and I think you start working in these weird techniques that like, I didn't teach you that.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So I think there is a fine line of when you are ready, you should.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be more of the CFI telling you you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, if you're going to be too nervous, that's a bad situation to be put
Right.
in.
Yeah.
But if you're like, nah, I could do it, and you just need a little bit of motivation from your
Yeah.
CFI to
Yeah.
say, yeah, I'm getting out of the airplane. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
because I think, like with anybody, if you get stuck in weather, or like weather just delays you, and you're just doing landings after landings
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple months, it just gets redundant, and you start forgetting things, and you're not thinking about it as deep as a landing should be.
Right. Yeah. I think so too.
So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
I didn't know you soloed that quick.
yeah, I sold really quick.
Dang.
Yeah, it was probably like I was my CFI's first student, so he was like, "Oh, that was quick."
Yeah.
He soloed at like 10 hours.
Wow.
He was like just a phenomenal pilot. Like,
Dang.
shout out to that guy. Like he just knew how to fly.
Yeah.
It just came natural to him.
Do you think that's just what do you think that is in somebody, just like that they just attain the information easier? And
I mean, he always said like, like the studying was always a little hard when he first started, but
Yeah.
he just came out of college, so like he already had study habits that
Mhm.
he was able to like pull into studying for aviation.
Yeah.
Where I didn't. And I think that helps a ton on the grounds.
Yeah.
But in flying, I think some people are just natural at it.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah,
They just get it.
They just get it. They
Yeah.
understand how the airplane moves. They understand the aerodynamic side.
Yeah.
And I think that helped me a ton was doing my studies and learning aerodynamics.
Mhm.
I was able to understand like the different pressures on the airplane and how the airplane's manipulated by the air, but also how the airplane manipulates the air.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and that just clicked for me. It made
Yeah.
sense. So I picked it up fairly quick. But like, I think it also helps, like, I've driven boats, I've ridden motorcycles,
Yeah.
like I've, flown remote control airplanes and drones, and
Yeah.
like, you just understand things at just a different level.
Yeah.
So it just picks up quicker.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Cool.
I mean, I've done Microsoft Simulator, like all those things. And
Yeah.
I think it just, like you understand, like, okay, if the airplane does this, it's going to do this.
Right.
Like it's just those little things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, then you just pick up the little nuances.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
but it did help, like, learning from him, and he learned the same way from his CFI was, they didn't throw in like any tricks.
Mm.
Like, oh, I learned this with this airplane and it just works better.
Okay.
Right. It was no, he taught me exactly how like the manufacturer intended it to be taught, and how the the private pilot structure was supposed to be taught.
Right.
Like even
Yeah.
with landings, it wasn't like, oh, my trick is you come in at like 72 knots versus like 75 knots. Like
Oh,
there was
okay.
no tricks. He taught me by the book,
By the book.
which I think helped, and it's helped me now moving to other airplanes. It's like,
Yeah.
no, fly it the way it's intended to fly.
Yeah.
There's no tricks to it. And that's why I disagree with most YouTube trainers.
Right.
Is like, oh, I found
Because
this
they're
trick.
more of like
Yeah,
tricky.
like, oh, do this in your next flight and you're gonna kill it. You're gonna
Yeah.
butter it. And they say all those things like, oh, you want to learn how to have the best landing every time.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's the best landing for you in your situation and
Yeah.
your airplane. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
every airplane's a little different. But if you fly, like, I've flown now 100 different Piper arrows
Uh-huh.
because ATP, every time one needed to go to maintenance, they'd send us a new one.
Okay.
So like literally in my 4 flight, I have like 72 different Piper.
Wow. Okay.
And then I flew some very old ones when I moved to a club in Houston, like a flight club.
Yeah.
And they had some 1970s Piper arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And I flew them all the exact same, right? Then I
Yeah.
picked up a little things like, okay, this one's lacking power on takeoff, or it's a little heavier because it's older.
Yeah.
So I needed to watch my landing a little bit better. But I was able to make those fine tweaks in the air without learning these
Tricks. Yeah.
you know?
That makes sense.
So
Wow.
yeah.
That's cool.
So that's my tip to anybody is like,
Yeah.
and that helped me with the solo. That helped me like, cause one airplane everybody hated because it had the, seriously, like we had a plane that most people didn't want to fly. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do my solo in that airplane. Or I don't want to do the cross country in that airplane.
Right.
Like one of them had the autopilot system in there. So it was a little heavier.
Oh.
And it threw everybody off. And I was like, I mean, I'll fly whatever plane. Just put me in it.
Yeah. Just give it to me. Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of other airplanes, are you excited about flying a different one?
I am very excited. Yeah. I've been doing some like YouTube, I guess, research on the SR20 and why people like it and, the perks of it. And it seems very exciting and maybe a better, I don't know if better is the word, but just I guess better fit for me. As like, I guess they have more room inside. I like that the yoke is up here on the left hand side rather than between our legs, because it's a little hard to maneuver between our legs with the amount of room we have. So it's heavier plane, maybe a little bit more stabilized, more power. So I'm excited. I'm very excited to see it and just get a different experience in another plane, because I think that's kind of cool to be able to say you could flow in 2 different planes in your training, so yeah.
I think that's my favorite part for students coming in and students that have been flying with us is you end your private pilot with a high performance endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
You've flown 2 airplanes, very different airplanes. Like they're similar in the way that they're low wing and kind of the landing characteristics are the same, but like to fly 2 completely different airplanes, different manufacturers. And so we're getting an SR20 for anybody who didn't know, but no, I'm super excited for the students. I love Cirrus. I know there's a lot of Cirrus haters out there, especially the guys who can't afford them or can't fly them or don't know how to fly them or fly little old Cessnas, There's a lot of haters out there for it.
Well, what is I guess the what's the alternative? Like people either do like a Cessna or a Cirrus or a Cessna, or what is it?
No, I mean like
what's the
Cirrus is just like, it's a whole different ball game.
Okay.
Right? They're nicer, they're more expensive, they're higher performance, bigger engines, heavier, they can carry more weight, more fuel. Like, I mean, they're just a different animal.
Overall, a little bit better.
Yeah, like the Diamond is more on par with your other trainer airplanes, Cessnas, Archers, Cherokees.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of like their characteristics, speeds. But I mean, we're already spoiled in the Diamond with the G1000s.
Yeah.
And people make fun of students learning in those because they're like, oh, you need to learn the old school 6-pack. And I'm like, I don't need to learn that. I don't want to learn it. I don't care to learn it.
Yeah, no.
Like I think it's good to understand how those systems work because our screens work the same type of systems.
Yeah.
But to fly, it's like everything's going digital anyway.
Right.
So there's that aspect of the Cirrus, but like Yeah, I don't know. People hate on them.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of different things. Right now with the new G7 Plus that came out,
Yeah.
has that safe return button.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh, they need, Cirrus pilots aren't pilots because they need a computer to land it for them. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's for emergency situations.
Yeah.
Like a pilot's not going to go push that button.
Yeah.
It's if the pilot, passes out in the cockpit
Yeah.
or for whatever reason, the wife or friend or kid
Yeah.
can go up and push
Just
the
gives you
button.
more options of being safe. That's
Yeah.
all. Like I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that has a parachute, so
Yeah.
that's really neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. They're one of the only ones who have parachutes.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So their Vision Jet's definitely one of the only jets that have a parachute.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that whole system's pretty neat.
it is.
So
Yeah, I feel a lot safer.
yeah.
Like just having another option of emergency
Yeah.
to go by.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool. But yeah, overall, I'm very excited for that plane. Um, what about you? Are you?
Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've obviously flown
Yeah.
one.
I have like
Yeah.
800 hours in a Cirrus.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I love Cirrus. I'm very comfortable in them. I flew mainly SR-22s, but just going to a lower power output is
Right.
going to be easy.
Yeah.
I have what, I don't know, 30 hours in a 20.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Wow. So
but
yeah.
I'm very excited. I
Yeah.
love Cirrus. I don't care what anybody says about them.
Would you say that's a good plane to have as like a private plane to own?
Like your own personal plane?
Yeah, personal
Yes,
plane.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would probably go like the SR-22 or
Okay.
the 22 Turbo
Okay.
because you're going to be doing cross countries and whatnot.
Yeah.
The 20 is more designed as a trainer,
Trainer. Okay.
not as much weight capacity, not as fast.
Right.
Trainer planes are better if they're slower,
Right.
right? So
Okay.
still faster than the average trainer plane, but
Right.
yeah, once you learn in the 20, it's easy to step up in like the
Transition
22.
to
You go do 20 hours for insurance requirements with a CFI, but yeah, I would say the 22 or the 22 Turbo
Okay.
for sure.
What's the difference between the 20 and 22?
The 20 and the 22,
Yeah.
the engine.
Oh, the engine.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's actually
more
the same fuselage.
Uh-huh.
It's the same seating capacity, same, like everything's the exact same.
Okay.
The 20 is a 215 horsepower, and the 22 is a 310 horsepower.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So almost 100 more horsepower.
Yeah, just increasing the horsepower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot faster. I think like they go like 200 knots versus like 180 knots.
Mhm.
So climb rate's
Nice.
better. You can go higher altitudes.
Yeah.
So you get oxygen ran through it in the 22s. Also, like the 22s, you can get the icing equipment,
Oh, wow.
so you can actually fly through ice.
That's cool.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
Fiki system.
Nice.
You can't get that in a 20.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of upgrades.
yeah, it's just kind of like your lower level luxury car
Yeah. Okay.
versus
Yeah.
your higher level, like
Yeah.
M3 versus an M5. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Nice.
that's
Well,
mainly
yeah.
the differences.
Cool.
Yeah, not much, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know I'm excited for it for sure. Yeah.
back to your cross countries. This is
Yeah.
kind of like a hot topic, I guess, that I hear complaints a lot about.
Okay.
So you're learning everything to know about cross countries.
Yeah.
How to flight plan, paper logs,
Mm-hmm.
timing, pilotage, dead reckoning.
Yeah.
Do you think in terms of like what you need to know for your check ride and the FAA is outdated?
So quite phrase that question again.
Yeah, so what
So-
you're learning versus what you'll actually use. Now,
Oh,
you've done a few cross countries, and it's
Yeah.
not like you're using a paper nav log the entire time.
Right. Right.
We use the screens and your
Yeah.
flight and everything.
Yeah. I feel like it's pretty on par. I mean, I don't think I've done enough cross countries to really answer that question, to my best knowledge. But yeah, as far as the paper nav logs, like I know I hate those. Like they're just annoying. I'm sure every like student thinks they're annoying,
Yeah.
but like I grasp the concept of why they want you to know it. And you do learn like the back end knowledge of like what for flight's figuring out for you. And I think it's good to know. So yeah, I don't think it's super out of date right now or off. I'm liking all the knowledge I'm learning, and yeah, that's the only thing I like. And that Katie's like expressed is like, yeah, you won't use this in your actual flying on the manual nav log, but as far as everything else I'm learning, yeah, I think I'm learning everything I need to know.
Yeah.
Sorry, does that
No,
answer
yeah,
your
that answers.
question?
Yeah, my big
Like,
thing,
yeah,
my big gripe is
yeah.
like with check rides
Okay.
is you don't know if you have to have a paper nav log or if you're allowed to use ForeFlight. You don't know.
Oh,
Every DP is different.
they don't tell you.
They don't tell you. They're not like, hey, you need a paper nav.
And that's not something you can call
And it's
ahead of
not a
time.
standard. It like there's no standard, in my opinion, because I
Yeah.
would personally rather just teach ForeFlight.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to use. That's what's like everybody uses it.
Right.
It's more accurate. It's better for information.
Yeah.
You know, we use it for almost everything else navlog wise. Like
Mhm.
you're pulling the data from ForeFlight onto a paper navlog.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we knew that a DPE would accept that,
Mhm.
I would only teach that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know,
skip the navlog or the
the
manual,
paper
the
navlog.
paper.
Yeah, I would still teach you like how to figure out the equations and
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's where the paper navlog helps. But like to do it over and over and over again, it's like it's. I mean,
I tell you, that's my worst.
Yeah.
Like, in the cross countries right now, like when she tells me to do a paper navlog, I'm just like,
yeah,
I dread it.
yeah.
I'm just like, God, this is dumb.
And in my opinion, the only reason why we have you do it is for the check ride.
Right. Yeah. Because you don't know
Yeah.
if.
And I'm like, I'd rather not have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean,
I get it.
The last time I used a paper navlog was for my private pilot check ride.
Mm.
That was the last time I ever wrote one.
And he required you to do one?
No, he actually was okay with ForeFlight.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, cool, screw that. I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, in Houston, I got to know a lot of the DPEs.
Mm-hmm.
And so all my students, I knew which DPE they were going to go with, and I knew that they didn't need a paper navlog
okay.
as long as they could explain the ForeFlight navlog.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll just teach you ForeFlight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's something they need to dial in a little better.
Yeah.
Because if we could skip that manual navlog,
Yeah.
I would be all for it. So.
Do you think you'd be able to learn the ForeFlight navlog without having the paper navlog knowledge?
Yes. Yes.
Like how to explain, you know, true course versus true heading, or
I mean, I think that goes down to the CFI of how well they explain it and break down what navlog is doing on the or ForeFlight is doing on the back end. Like ForeFlight is figuring out this heading by X, Y, and Z, you know, with the winds and stuff. So if they explain it that way, 100% I could learn it. But the navlog is just a little bit more broken down and a little tedious, but I don't know. I think it's just good. It's good all in all, learning more knowledge.
There's just more knowledge at best, but
but I get what you're saying though. Like if I could not do that and just study the ForeFlight for my check ride, 100%, that would be a lot easier.
Yeah, part of my debate is if we just like set a mandate that that's all we teach.
Yeah,
you know, and just like if the DP doesn't like it, we'll find a different one, I guess.
That's true. Yeah,
you know,
you
like
that because
kind of force them out of that. Criteria.
Yeah, because I'm all about just like learn what you're going to be using in the like. It goes back to your real estate license. Like how much of the real estate test like did you have to study that you actually put into the real life situation?
The ethics make sense, but other than that, it's like
so
pretty pointless.
Exactly, same point. So get rid of that.
Yeah. I don't know. Especially like with a Cirrus and a Diamond, like with the G1000s, it's just like so it fuel's calculated for you, distance is calculated for you, the times are calculated for you. Even if you didn't do it in ForeFlight, the airplane itself will calculate it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, how much of that do we need to know besides weather, you know, like outside of the airplane?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's good to know how it's computed and making sure like there's no errors.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're not used to seeing the equations, I think errors can come in.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Like if you accidentally put in the wrong point in ForeFlight and you're not used to looking at the times, right? Like the time to next day, waypoint.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like 13 hours to next waypoint.
Yeah.
You're like, and if you don't catch that and you throw in your flight plan and you're flying this course and you're like, I've been going on this course for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It should have been like 15 minutes, you know, like, I think that's very important.
Recognizing errors. Yeah.
And with technology, I think there's a lot of complacency. Like it makes things a lot easier for us.
For sure.
And
you get comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And just, if you're not
like, I did it. It's done, you know, whatever.
Yep, exactly.
So, I don't know. It's kind of double-edged sword right there.
Yeah, for sure. But I'd rather, have the technology do it, figure it out for me, and then You're just double checking that it all makes sense
Yeah.
and getting to where you need to be. So,
Yeah. I think you
yeah.
definitely need to do a lot more double checks
100%.
with the technology.
Yeah.
Which it's definitely not going to take you as much time as it is to do a paper nav log,
No, not at all.
to just do an extra check on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. So I got a new segment I want to try.
Okay.
If you're down.
Yeah. I'm down.
I'm
down if you're down.
I'm
That's
down.
my saying.
It's called Truth or Turbulence. All right. It's like Truth or Dare.
Okay.
Or True or False. There we go. Not Truth or Dare.
False. Okay.
True or False. All right. Let's see if you know your aviation knowledge.
Oh shit! Cut this part out. All
right, so it's truth, true or false, basically.
Okay.
But it's truth or turbulence.
Truth or turbulence.
All right, number one, the Wright brothers' first flight was lasted less than a minute.
I think that's true.
That is true.
Yeah.
It was 12 seconds.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
so
nice.
And they figured out flight off of 12 seconds.
12 seconds. That's freaking cool.
All right. You can legally fly a plane without knowing how to read an altimeter.
Without knowing how to read an altimeter? I think that's true.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's turbulence.
Turbulence? Dang it. Dang it. Oh, okay.
So part of it's one of the required knowledge portions, right?
Oh, okay.
So like when you're looking through the ACS for your private pilot license, it goes through all the breakdown of like all the information you need to know. Your equipment is like number
equipment one.
All right. Okay. And altimeter is a required equipment piece, right?
Okay.
8 tomato flames.
Yep. 8 tomato flames.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. You must always file a flight plan before flying solo.
You must always file a flight plan before flying solo. That's turbulence.
That is. It is not required for VFR flights.
Yeah.
Is it recommended?
Yes, I think so.
We recommend it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather you be on with ATC because I can't talk to you.
Right. Yeah.
Them talk to you in case of emergency.
For sure. Yeah.
So, all right. This is a diamond question.
Uh-oh.
The DA-40 burns less fuel per hour than a Cessna 172.
I want to say that's true.
Yeah.
Because I know the DA-40 is pretty efficient.
Yeah. With the Austro engine, we average like 5 gallons an hour.
Yeah.
So the normal diamond, non-jet fuel, diesel engine one burns about the same.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, all right. It's legal to land a plane on a highway if it's an emergency.
It's legal, you're saying?
Yeah. Is it legal? Or it's legal, I guess. True, true or false.
Yeah, I want to say it's true.
Yep, it is. Basically, you can land anywhere in case of emergency.
Yeah, emergency, you're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. My good friend, he landed an airplane in a ballpark. Like
really?
a baseball stadium.
Wow. What about restricted airspaces?
In emergency? Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know. All right.
Yeah.
So you can land on like an army base.
Yeah, in emergency. I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah, I mean, given the situation, it's
all private airfields, military airspaces, everything. Yeah, in case of emergency, you have access to basically anything.
Basically, yeah. We can land at the White House.
I guess around the lawn. I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of guns pointed at you, but
be ready to be pointed.
Yeah. For sure. So luckily ATC's got all the connections. So, in case of emergency, you're like, I'm actually landing on the White House.
Yeah, they'll inform everybody.
I'm sure they'll let everybody know.
Yeah. Don't shoot them.
Yeah. So, all right. Private pilots can fly over 18,000 feet without a clearance.
Private pilot? Do you have your instrument rating?
No.
Turbulence.
Yep.
Yeah.
So why can't you?
Because you have to have a clearance.
Yep.
And then you have to be on a flight plan.
Yep. And obviously instrument rated.
Okay.
Yep. So good. All right.
Are we done?
2 more.
Okay.
2 more.
Let's see if I can get it.
Okay. In our diamond, you can fly from California to Florida without refueling.
That is definitely turbulence.
That's definitely turbulence.
Yeah.
That was an easy one.
I hope none of our students think that.
Yep, that was an easy one. All right. This is the best one. Okay. I hope you get it right.
Oh, man.
You, Blake, are going to be the next Maverick.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
duh,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously.
I'm gonna be a jacked ass maverick. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for
Yeah.
participating in the new segment.
Yeah, that was fun. I like it. Little pop
Yep.
quiz
Little
thing.
pop quiz.
Yeah,
See your
okay.
knowledge. You only
Yeah,
missed one,
just one.
so that's
So,
pretty good.
yeah, cool.
All right. Just a few just random questions I came
Okay,
up with,
let's
just kind
do
of
it.
make it fun
Bring
before
it.
we finish up.
Bring it.
So, all right. One. What's your dream plane?
Dream plane?
Yep. To
Ooh.
buy.
Ooh.
So, all right. Money aside. Um, but you
Dude.
have to stay within the realm of your license.
Oh, okay.
So you're
That's a
single
good
engine
question.
land.
Okay, single engine land. So right now I'm
Get a
just
type rating. You can get a
for
type.
right now I'm just stuck on a PC-12, the
Yeah.
NG, man, for some reason. I know you said was it the Piper?
The TBM.
The TBM had the nice interior. Um but I mean, maybe I haven't looked into the depth of like my needs
Yeah.
and the performance of each plane. But right now I'm just stuck on a PC-12.
Yeah.
Um
What's making you pick the PC-12 over anything else?
I think because maybe I think I'm biased on like that's the first one I've kind of looked into.
Yeah.
As far as my knowledge and looking into them, and I know maybe I'm wrong, but I know they can. I don't know if they can carry more passengers than
They're about the same.
about the
They're the
same.
same category.
Okay. Um. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's like that's what I see more online.
Yeah.
And is in my search engine and my page, and
Yeah.
I pops up. And I think maybe I like the looks of them a little bit more than the other one, but
And
yeah,
then like obviously you're picking it for capability reasons. What sticks out about the PC-12 in
that
terms of like your mission?
it's weight capacity of what it can carry, so I know it can carry a lot of weight, and then passengers.
Yeah.
Like that's important to me. Like I want to take a lot of people on my trips.
Yeah.
Or the most I can. So yeah, like with me, the more the merrier. So I want to be able to take the most capacity.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you a question
Yeah.
on that then.
Okay.
It's like a either or. Okay. You have a bigger airplane.
Okay.
It's faster.
Okay.
And can carry a lot.
Are we still on single engine?
Single engine.
Okay.
Okay. But the fuel distance is very low. Or you go a smaller airplane, less fuel capacity or less weight capacity, a little slower, but it can go super far.
That's a good question. And maybe I don't think as a pilot should in this case, but I would rather go farther, slower. Um, is my answer.
So you're about the destination,
Yeah.
not the trip.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I get like if you can't go I would like to go faster. I guess like stopping in
Let's say
places.
you're going to like Florida, right?
Yeah.
So the faster airplane, let's say
Yeah.
it's like significantly faster.
Okay.
Bigger, carries a lot of weight, so you can get a ton of people in there.
Yeah.
Or a ton of baggage.
But you have to stop for
But
some gas.
you got to stop halfway.
Okay.
The other airplane can go full trip,
Slower.
significantly slower,
but you get there.
but you can do that in one trip.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, and I think I'll change my answer to the faster plane because I would enjoy stopping at new destinations. Like, hey, we go to Florida a lot. We've been stopping, X. Let's stop in this state and check it out, and I've always wanted to visit there. So that makes a good point. So yeah, I think I would change it to the faster airplane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
what's
I would
answer?
definitely take stops.
Take stops. Okay.
One, I mean, if I'm flying with family and kids, stops are good.
Yeah, 100%.
I need a stretch.
Yeah.
But and if it's faster, like the reason why I ask is because like most time if you're faster, you're burning more fuel too, right?
Yeah.
Higher performance.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like stopping. That's probably been my favorite thing about flying in cross countries is like going to new destinations.
Yeah, yeah, and you've experienced that, so that's that's cool.
Yeah,
like,
it's like when I flew in Texas, I've been basically almost every smaller airport in Texas. Like, I know there's a lot. Like, I say like the main ones, like every city, Austin, San Antonio, New Braunfels, Dallas, like 20 different airports in Dallas, all the airports in the Houston airspace.
Yeah.
I've flown all the way out to Florida, done basically every coastal airport along the Gulf of America.
Oh wow, that's really of
Yeah,
America.
of America. Like Pensacola to that little panhandle of Alabama,
Yeah,
that touches the water.
yeah.
We landed at this one airport that's off the beach, like
Oh, that's
on an
cool.
island.
Yeah.
Like that was my favorite part about
Hmm.
learning to fly was every destination you can go to,
That's so cool.
right?
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
it ruined your plans, like, oh, I got to get there at 6, and it's like, well, yeah, but like just plan better, leave a little
yeah,
earlier,
yeah,
or don't make a set date.
yeah.
Abby always gets mad at me because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be home at 8, and I'm like, she's like, you're not gonna be home at 8. You're like,
Yeah,
you're right. I stopped and got lunch.
yeah,
We
yeah.
ate and we hung out at the FBO
Discovered
for
at
a
his
little
new
bit.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And everywhere I go, nice thing is you land at an FBO and you're like, hey, what's the best restaurant in town? They're like, oh, well, I love this one, and
yeah,
all the locals go here. So
yeah.
I've tried to eat everywhere I've gone to.
Oh yeah, that's the fun of it for
Like
sure.
stopped in Beaumont
Uh-huh.
once, and they had a little Cajun seafood place,
Oh
and
man.
like they literally had like police guiding traffic for how busy they were.
Yeah,
Like I was like,
yeah.
this is sweet, this is
That's
fun,
cool. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I like the destination's fun, and I want to be able to get places.
yeah.
So like the capacity is great, but the in betweens I
The
think is
speed.
what's
Yeah,
really fun.
yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Another reason too, the PC-12, I like that it has an option for a laboratory.
Yes.
I think that's super convenient. If you're 2 hours plus on a
Yeah.
flight, be able to
Yeah.
just pee.
I think you'd probably be end up being like, don't use the bathroom.
Well,
Because then you got to
go
drain it.
number 2.
You got to
Yeah.
drain it.
Yeah, it's just like an RV. You
Yeah,
gotta,
like
yeah,
we had a camper, and I was like,
yeah,
please don't use the bathroom. You just go pee out there. You're like,
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
have to take it to the drain place or the sewer
Right.
place or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
get that.
from what I've heard, I think a lot of people would have opted out of the bathroom
Uh-huh.
for that reason.
Right.
It's more of a hassle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I get it, but when you got kids on board,
Yeah, the kids make a
it's convenient.
difference.
And then women need to pee,
Yeah.
and I think they like that convenience. Like, oh, okay, I'll go if I can pee.
Yeah.
Like so, it gets a little stress off your mind that you're able to use the bathroom
Yeah.
if you have to. Absolutely. So, yeah, that's
Just dump it on your flight out.
yeah, yeah. Well, question goes to you. What's your dream single engine plane with no money aside?
I really like the Vision Jet. It's really cool.
Yep. Single prop though.
Oh, prop.
This
new Piper that just came out. I can't remember the name of it. Something
Okay.
700 or 750 or something.
Okay,
like
it's
that.
a new Piper.
Yeah, I think it's an 8-seater, but it's the fastest single prop.
Really?
Yeah, ever that's been released.
Wow.
The fastest.
Do you know what they claim the speed to?
320.
Wow.
Like
Wow, you're getting
that
up
thing's
there in
cruising.
jets, yeah.
High altitude, pressurized cabin.
Okay.
Very comfortable. Little on the smaller side, but very comfortable still.
Yeah.
I do like the stops in between. So if I had to, I would. It will make it across the states though.
Wow.
If you needed it to. So like the PC-12, I love it. The TBM, I love it. But they are big airplanes.
Big, yeah.
They're massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd probably go the TBM if I didn't go that one.
Okay.
Just because of the customization on it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I don't know. I like to go against the crowd, and I feel like everybody wants the PC-12.
Yeah.
That's what everybody says. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a PC-12 one day. And it's fine. They're awesome. I love them. They're phenomenal airplanes.
Yeah.
But like to get a TBM, it's like a little different.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I want something different. Yeah. Same question, and I know my answer. For a jet, and no money aside.
Well, there's only one single engine jet.
Okay, well, it could be dual. Oh, sorry. You can.
I don't know.
I know mine 100%. It's the Top Dog, like Top Dog. You know the Top Dog maker of private jets.
Which one are you going?
Gulfstream.
The Gulfstream?
The new G800.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah, that's like a $55 million plane.
Yeah.
And I think it's the it has the best distance on any jet right now.
I mean, I like the Gulfstreams. I like the Phenoms. I like the I don't know that I'm not like super versed in the jet realm because I don't work in those.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go off what you see.
Like if you're going small end, like the Honda Jet's cool, the Vision Jet's cool.
I think Citations are cool.
The Citations, yeah. I think that's what Scott had was a citation.
Is it Bombardier? Is that how you say it?
Bombarder, I think.
Bombarder. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
those are pretty cool.
Everybody's gonna be laughing at
I
us.
know,
Like all the comments. Idiot, you don't even know how to say
yeah.
Bombardier.
I know how to say
It's French.
Gulfstream.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, like I think jets nowadays they've gotten so good.
Yeah,
It's kind of like you wouldn't go wrong with any of them.
I 100% agree.
Right.
They're all pretty.
Yeah, I would probably look more into like which one has the best maintenance facilities,
Yeah.
the most amount of maintenance
Available,
facilities.
yeah.
Because that's what we ran in with the Diamond, and like it's just a single engine airplane, but because it's an Austro engine, we have to go to a Diamond service center. Closest one's Vegas.
Damn.
Then the next closest one's Dallas. That will work on it.
Right.
So like that's been a huge struggle. So I think like if I got a jet,
okay,
or a big airplane, I need to make sure it can be worked on in any state that I fly through.
That makes
right? Or any country I fly through if it's a jet.
Right.
Like
yeah. So what the SR-20 are they closer?
Yeah, they have a lot more, and they either have a Lycoming or a Continental engine, which is very common. Like most shops know how to work on those.
Yeah.
So, but there's a Cirrus shop in Salt Lake. Our mechanic is Cirrus certified. He's been working on Cirruses for like 15 years.
Okay.
So
it'll be a lot smoother,
way easier. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's like thinking of like a long distance jet. I don't want to be stranded in some podunk town.
Yeah.
And not have someone that could work on my airplane.
Yeah. 100%.
Especially when it's millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I also don't want to have to spend millions to get it to a maintenance shop.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah. Okay.
Like looking at Cirrus, I mean, you could get it serviced in Europe with a Cirrus.
Dang. That's cool.
There's Cirrus shops out there. Everywhere.
That's good to know.
So that's probably what I think about the most.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
All right, 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
Do you think chemtrails are real?
Chemtrails.
You know what chemtrails are?
Explain it to me, make sure I'm thinking
like everybody thinks that airplanes release chemtrails that like change the weather or pollute the air or
no.
I
don't really think so.
You don't think they're changing the weather with chemicals?
No, not to me, but maybe I'm not knowledgeable enough to know that realm, but I don't know. Do you think they do?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. You're asking me like, you don't think they do?
my conspiracy side wants to say yes, right? Like to be like, they're totally manipulating things.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like, I don't jets have been around for what? Yeah. However many years.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have come out.
Right.
Like, someone would have caught the chemicals or like, tested the air, Yeah. Now, if we did want to manipulate weather, I mean, like, why not?
Yeah.
At the same time, like it'd be pretty genius. Like if we need more rain in a certain area,
that would be nice.
You go produce rain clouds.
Let's get some rain.
People are like, well, but then it's chemicals. Like, everything else is chemicals. The fruit you eat's got pesticides and whatever else you can think of. You know, like
but I don't think I know enough to really answer that.
Yeah,
100%. But I don't. Just based on what I know, I don't think they would.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I don't know. Interesting question.
Yeah. Well, so since you're in flight training, this one's kind of like more flight, like school related. Okay. So just recently, do you know what the United Aviate program is?
No.
So there's like these cadet programs that airliners have put out.
Oh.
They put the students through all the training, private pilot on, and then they're able to join the CFI program. And then the CFI program steps up into their regional program, and then the regional into the major United program.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a career path, right?
Okay, right.
So it takes you from 0 to airliners.
Okay.
And it's all planned out precisely.
Okay.
So just recently, I think like a few days ago, they're into another lawsuit because of this.
Oh.
So this lady was in their program, did 1,000 hours, I believe, or no, sorry, $100,000 worth of training with them.
Okay.
And they kicked her out because she was going too slow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, in my opinion, if however long it takes you, if I'm spending the money, it should just be like, whatever.
It doesn't matter.
So she spent all that money, didn't have a certain amount of ratings or something, and then they kicked her out. So she spent all that money for, I mean, she got a few ratings, she got her private instrument.
Yeah.
But, what's your thought on like, flight training programs like that versus just doing it, kind of like the Part 61 way?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if they're gonna have a time limit, I'm gonna feel rushed. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they go into it knowing that there's a time limit. Do
I
they?
mean, they have expectations,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah.
explicitly said that if you don't finish in a
You're gonna
certain
get kicked
time, you're
out.
gonna get
Yeah.
kicked, you know?
Yeah. So that I think that would hold a little bit more
She's
pressure.
suing for 500,000, by the way.
Oh wow, good for
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
as she should.
like, because I mean, well, in my opinion, it's like, if I'm spending the money to go through your program, it should take me as long as it takes me, right?
Correct. Yeah.
If it costs me more, it costs me
It
more.
costs you more. Just like this program.
Yeah, just
Like
like this program.
exactly.
If it
Yeah.
takes you 20 hours to learn something,
That's what it's
that's
gonna be.
the cost of flying.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that, and then but also it was the career side as well that
Yeah.
kicked her out, right?
Well, yeah.
Like she's on a career path. Now, I don't know if she sucked. She could have been a crappy pilot for all
Yeah.
I know, and
Yeah.
it's probably better that she's not flying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know all that side of it,
Yeah.
but face value, it seems like, like wouldn't you rather a safer pilot who took their time and wasn't rushed into
Yeah,
all these things?
100%. Yeah. And that's what I like about this school too. Like the way you guys structure it, like there's really no pressure. I mean, obviously you guys don't want us like stuck and being stagnant, but we learn at our own pace.
Yeah.
And if it takes us 30 hours to solo, then so be it. So, that's what I enjoy and I like, and I feel more comfortable doing is there's no pressure of time limit.
Yeah.
Like we're going to learn, we're going to get it in the however much time it takes us.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that sets a bad precedent though on future pilots that are pushed through these programs, kind of carried through these programs, or like there are a lot more accidents happening like kind of frequently,
yeah,
I feel like, it like wouldn't it be better to just make sure that we have good pilots versus, oh, you have to get done by 1,000 hours.
100%. Yeah. And I don't know if they keep track of these like accidents that happen of what programs
Yeah.
they've gone through, and maybe statistics can
Yeah.
give those results.
Now we're actually down like this year compared to the past couple years.
Yeah.
So I think things are getting safer, but like
Right.
that also could take in, it's like which one's causation versus just correlation,
Yeah.
like is it due to the technology that we're safer, or are the pilots getting better training? Is that the reason? Or
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things that could play into
Go
that.
into
But
factor.
I mean, just in your experience, if I, like let's say I'm your trainer
Mhm.
and you're working towards your solo, because that's all you've done so far,
Yeah.
right? If I was like, pushing you, you have to get it done at 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like what kind of stress would that put on you? What kind of like
Oh,
thought process?
yeah, like I would not like that.
Yeah.
Like you said, it puts stress. I have to learn this. And then you go into like kind of a panic mode, and I don't think you attain information better that way.
Yeah.
Rather than being more relaxed and like at your own pace. Because I think everybody has their own pace in this.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to set a certain pace and rush it, I think that's when accidents happen.
Yeah.
And you don't learn the information as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like the way that you guys are running
Yeah.
it. And
But then, okay, let's
Yeah.
say you got to 10 hours and we're like, oh, sorry, you didn't solo, you're out.
yeah, I would feel robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like you just spent
Yeah,
what, 10 grand or
Yeah,
what? I mean,
whatever.
5 grand,
Yeah.
whatever. You're like, well, that sucks.
yeah, I just wasted all that money.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get anything out of it. And I would feel robbed of my
Yeah.
money. So like, yeah, I don't like that structure of how they have
It's
it.
interesting.
Yeah,
this is,
that's
I think
crazy.
this is like their third or fourth like lawsuit with this.
That's
I mean,
crazy. I mean that the students have to know that there's a time limit, right? Like going into it, or is it like small writing stuff that they don't?
I think it's more small writing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the issue, this is an issue with a lot of these big schools, is they have this reputation of a fast track program, and they're like, well, you can get it done in 7 months,
Yeah.
but if all of their students are graduating at 9 months, it's like, well, can you really say you can get it done in 7 months?
Yeah.
Like your track record is very bad.
Right.
So then if you have a few students that are like, well, it took them 2 years, well, how does that also reflect on your company?
Right.
If your whole marketing, strategy is fast track.
Right.
So like, for us, it's like, well, you get done when you get done, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can get it done in 7 months. It might take you 2 years. It all
Yeah.
depends on you, your
How much time your
availability.
availability,
Yeah.
how many times a week you're coming, and yeah.
But I feel like if you're progressing, that shouldn't, and it just took you a little longer. But oh, this was the big part. I totally spaced it.
Okay.
There was a huge amount of delays on from weather, aircraft availability,
Oh,
student load on the CFIs. So
yeah.
like a lot of things outside of her
Control.
control
Yeah.
that made her take longer than usual.
Oh, wow. Then yeah, that's
That
totally unfair.
yeah, like isn't
Yeah.
that like that's ridiculous?
That's way ridiculous because yeah, you can't control that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not my fault. We haven't flew in 3 weeks because of weather
Yeah.
or planes down
Yeah.
for maintenance and stuff like that.
But a
So
lot of these schools are going that route is like, the universities makes a little bit more sense because they're semester based.
right.
But if I told you you have to have your private pilot done in 3 months, it's like,
Yeah.
or you're just
Or
paying
you
for the program again, or you're out.
yeah.
A lot of them just get kicked out.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, sorry, you're not fit for this.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I I get both ways because like I get like it might give you more motivation to take it serious
yeah,
rather than like, oh, I'll learn when I learn or kind of, so maybe like you're not wasting either party's time. But I don't know. I guess if it's their money, like you said, if you're
I
paying
know.
for
Like
it,
you're
like
paying for it. Like if I
okay,
told
we'll
you,
take your
if I
money.
was like,
Like
this, you
yeah,
kind of suck at this.
yeah,
And you're like, but I was like, look, if you want to keep spending money, like, and you really want to learn it, it takes you 4 years. I mean,
we're
it's
not
your
losing
money.
money.
Like
Yeah,
it's your
yeah,
money,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I don't know that. I think that's just so dumb of programs to set these time limits
I agree.
and regulations
Yeah.
where it's like, just because it doesn't fit your mold
Mhm.
doesn't mean they shouldn't continue on,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like most people, if they got kicked out of a school, they probably would drop it altogether,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
because that's all they know.
Yeah. That's all they know.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's a dumb program
Yeah.
and way to structure something. And I mean, with this, like, I would want my time to learn it and not feel rushed because this is something serious. You're
Yeah.
not just. I mean, it's as serious as driving a car, but I mean, you're flying an airplane.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now I get the push of like to like get them, set on getting
yeah,
their license and like there's a structure.
right.
But I mean, at the same time, you got to have some sort of tolerance.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't.
Now, again, she could have sucked for all I know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
now take it into account
yeah.
like the delays and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, but even with the delays, other people made it through and you didn't. Like,
Mhm,
and then the issue with those is also like, I think this is, I guess, on the flip side,
mhm,
defending United
mhm.
is you get into those programs knowing it's a career path into United. And so if they see that you're not driven enough or dedicated
Yeah,
enough to get through their program in their time frame, like I wouldn't want to hire them.
yeah,
But if they're guaranteed a spot through your program, you have to hire them,
right.
right? But
Yeah,
it's like, well, you're not a good pilot or you
yeah,
suck or you're not dedicated or you took 2 months off to go to, Mexico or
yeah,
something, like
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that side too.
so
So there's
it's kind of both sides. I see
for
it,
sure. Yeah,
but I feel like at least like let them get all their ratings,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, sorry, you're not fit for our cadet program, but you can continue on, get your licensing.
yeah, yeah. And
You know?
maybe find another
Yeah.
airline to go to or
Yeah.
something. So yeah, they get different. They could have handled it a
Yeah.
different way for sure. But
All right. I asked Dallas this. I'm going to ask you this.
okay.
So, you two are best buds,
Mm-hmm.
but you're very competitive, both of you.
Yeah.
Has that affected you at all in your training? Have you felt like, whether you got a little bit ahead in the training or he got a little ahead in the training, did it help you? Did it hurt you?
I think, I think, I think we do have competitiveness with it. And I think the constructive or where we tease each other about it, I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
And to be able to take that from each other and use it in a positive way. Yeah. Yeah, to answer the question, yeah, we do compete with it, but I don't think we hold it against each other as far as like, I'm better than you, you're better than
Yeah.
me kind of thing. So, but we do give like each other shit for,
Yeah.
God, you ever gonna start your cross countries?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but we take it in all good faith, and
Yeah.
um, it's fun. We do have fun with it, and I think if you can bicker back and forth in a healthy way, um, it's good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I think we both want each other to succeed in it. We want to, like, I was super happy for his solo. I was very proud, and so I think we're both rooting for each other on that
Yeah.
end. So yeah, it's
That's
fun.
good.
It's fun. Yeah,
It's good.
I think it's good to have that camaraderie,
Yeah.
like to be able to joke back and forth, and but still have a healthy relationship with it. And you know, eventually we're both gonna get it, and we're
Yeah.
both gonna be pilots, and we'll just be looking back on it and laughing, and
Yeah.
you know. So, um, what about you? Did you have any friends or
No. No, I didn't
going
know
through it?
anybody getting
Yeah,
into it. But like I've had students. I've never had friends
yeah,
that were wanting to train like together or start
yeah.
at the same time. I've had brothers
Uh huh.
and I've had like a father son type thing
Yeah.
and then a husband wife.
Okay.
And I don't recommend it for anybody. The
But
brothers was nice, like they were fine. The only issue I saw with like the brothers, like they liked the competition. They were
yeah,
very rooting for each other,
yeah,
but they're both business owners and like, like they like to see others succeed,
yeah,
So it wasn't a competition of like I'm better than you,
yeah.
right? It was a competition of one, they did like to see who could get there first,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it's like it's motivating for both.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um so they were fine. They were cool. I really like those guys. They had a good relationship. But the issue I saw with them was one would start progressing faster than the other,
Mm-hmm.
and so they would slow up. I
Oh,
don't know if it was like a fear of that competition or they just wanted to be at the same stage. It's like,
the guy that was getting ahead would
yeah,
slow
he would
down
get
a little
ahead,
bit.
like he'd get to cross countries, and so he would like just basically take a 2 week break
Oh,
and let the other brother catch
catch
up.
up.
I don't know if that's just like, just who they are or whatever, but
Right. Yeah.
it caused a little bit of holdback on both
Yeah. I could see
because
that.
then the same thing would happen the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then the father and son, that was like, I would never recommend a father and son come in
Mm-hmm.
and fly together. I
Okay.
would say if you want to get your licenses at the same time, that's fine,
Yeah.
but not like separate CFIs, keep it different
Okay.
because the issue I saw, and maybe this is just a reflection on who they are as a dad, but uh, like I don't know, I feel like as a dad, you want to assert dominance in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're out playing basketball, like you let him get a few baskets, but like at the same time you're gonna dunk on him,
Yeah.
like
Establish who's in charge.
yeah, like I'll give you a few, but
Yeah.
the dad was super competitive.
Okay.
The son could have cared less. That's
Okay.
what was really funny about
Oh
it.
wow.
But he picked it up like the son was just a true natural, but he did Microsoft Simulator for years.
Okay.
Like he knew how to use the yoke, he knew how to use throttle
Yeah.
adjustments and
This made
everything.
sense. Yeah.
And the dad couldn't get past like straight level flight.
Yeah.
Seriously, it was terrible. That was yeah, that was a long couple weeks with him.
So they just didn't get along
Well,
while doing it?
this was the dad would start like bashing on the kid.
Oh.
He was
For
like,
being good?
yeah, for being good. Like, oh, thanks for showing me up, dickhead.
Yeah.
Like these like
Yeah.
little comments, and I was like, dude, like,
That's crazy. Because
like-
me as a dad, I'd be like,
yeah,
damn,
like, dude, you're
making
awesome.
me look good. Good job.
Yeah.
Or look bad. Good job.
I know.
Kicking my ass out there.
But then like when the dad would mess up, he would get super frustrated with himself. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, my freaking kid can pick this up and I can't, like.
Yeah.
So that was a bad combo.
Okay.
Now
I think that's a little bit of personality too.
Yeah,
like you're saying of
probably.
who you are,
Yeah.
kind of person.
Yeah.
'Cause- Yeah.
Now I think it would like on the son side, the son actually ended up quitting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because he was like, well, I don't like that my dad keeps getting frustrated that I'm doing better than him.
Oh, that's
So the kid
disgusting.
quit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, dude, like we can split you guys up. Like
Yeah.
I'll just tell him like, hey, it's better if you go with him and I go
Yeah.
with you and whatever the case may be. But he was like, no, because if I got my license before him, he'd be like probably pretty mad. Like
Oh.
not at the kid necessarily, but like at himself. Like,
Yeah.
because I guess as a dad, you want to be like the person your kid looks up to.
Yeah.
And if you can't get it, like, and he does,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little weird.
I get it. Yeah. I get it.
So,
Dang it.
but then the husband and wife, never again. Never again. I will always split them up no matter
Yeah.
what.
What was their deal?
Just again, probably a little personality side,
Yeah.
but like, not saying that all women in aviation are this way, but she was very much this way of like,
Mhm.
I can do anything a man can.
Okay.
And he was very much the way of like, oh, I'm naturally better
Okay.
at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So they wanted to fly together, like one in the back seat, one in the front seat,
Uh-huh.
and then they'd swap. And I was like, after the first day of that, it was over, you know, because she was 100% backseat flying. Like,
Oh,
oh, you're doing that wrong. Oh, that's not what he taught me yesterday.
you're
Or
like,
I was like, girl, seriously,
who's the instructor
yeah.
here?
Like, and then when he would get in the back seat, he was like, oh, you're doing this all wrong. I was like, Mael, this is not what I
Yeah.
want for today.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, we can't be doing that together.
Yeah. I could
So,
see how that could be.
and then she excelled in the groundwork very quickly. Like she knew every question I had to ask her like day 2.
Dang.
And then he just never did it. Now,
Yeah.
you know, full-time job, everything else. So
Yeah.
it was like, understand, like he was just
Yeah.
a normal student.
Yeah.
So she would be like, yeah, he does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very bad.
That's crazy. That's funny. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know that there's like those experiences. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice and refreshing to see that you can still have competition, but not
Yeah.
have it affect like a relationship or like
Oh,
your flight training.
for sure.
It can
Yeah.
be more motivating than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate that we have that relationship, Dallas and I, that it's very positive, and we try to make it fun
Yeah.
for each other. So yeah.
Well, Blake, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you
That
for
was
having
awesome.
me. I hope this is a fun one to
Yep.
watch.
Yep.
I'm not.
We're gonna I'm
Yeah.
hoping to get you on after your check ride again.
Okay.
So be
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
Because everybody has questions about check rides and how
Yeah.
the DPs are,
Yeah.
you know, and like moving forward after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, our merch shop, it's utahaviate.shopify.com. Blake's got some merch from us.
Yes.
Now, we
Yeah.
gave him that one, but
I earned that one.
he earned that one for his solo.
Yeah.
But if you want some cool hoodies and whatnot, go check it out. So
Yes.
thanks, everybody.
Thank you.